Let's take a quick look back. Maryland football just earned a road win against Wisconsin to move to 4-0 on the season. Freshman quarterback Malik Washington is looking good, and there's a buzz about football around campus. The Washington Huskies then come into College Park, and that is where everything changed, blowing a 20-point fourth quarter lead and then losing the next 8 games to close out the season. We'll take a look at what went wrong this season, what is to come next season, and more on this edition of the Left Bench in Focus. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Left Bench in Focus, brought to you by Terrapin Sports Central. I'm Wesley Schnell. Sitting next to me is Christian Andriolas. And Christian, it was another disappointing season for Maryland football as they failed to qualify for a bowl game for the second consecutive season.
Yeah, Wesley, it was definitely another disappointing season for a program that got up to a 4-0 start, and missing a bowl game for a second straight season seemed impossible. But that is exactly what happened. Now the focus is on next season, and nothing brings optimism to fans like signing a top 10 recruit.
That is exactly right. Maryland did just that with the official signing of Zion Ely, the number 2 ranked player in the 2026 class, according to ESPN. The Maryland native, coming out of Baltimore, stayed true to his verbal commitment to the program.
Yeah, Loxley's local recruiting initiative was evident, signing 6 of the top 17 players from Maryland and securing a 37th ranked class next season, according to ESPN.
We've said it already. The Terps were off to a great start, winning their first 4 games and averaging roughly 33 points per game in that span. Then came 2 heartbreaking losses at home in the final minutes of the fourth quarter against Washington and Nebraska. Then, on the 1st of November, the Terps suffered a 45-point loss to number 2, Indiana. Early in November, the Terps just needed 2 wins to become bowl eligible. Averaging just 19 points per game in those final games, the Terps came up short in all 4, ending the season on an 8-game losing streak.
To help us break down Maryland football season, we brought on WMUC Sports football beat reporter Ben Messinger. Thanks for joining us, Ben.
Thanks for having me.
With another disappointing season for the Terps, so much went wrong. What are your exact takeaways from this season?
Well, I think, first of all, the biggest takeaway, at least positively, is Malik Washington. Freshman quarterback. When you have a freshman quarterback, he has to play well, and he had almost 3,000 yards in the season. So he's my biggest takeaway. But also, obviously, Loxley's coming back. That's a big takeaway. But the depth diminished towards the end of the season. 4-0 start. Maryland's defense kind of got a little hurt as Daniel Wingate was dealing with injuries, Zaire Mathis was dealing with injuries. Loxley kept bringing it up that it's not the same old Maryland, but it turned out to be.
Yeah. Athletic Director Jim Smith announced a few weeks ago that he and the school are committed to head coach Mike Loxley. Is the reason for keeping him that Malik Washington and Zion Ely are on the roster, or do you think it has more to do with the buyout money and kind of those financial reasons?
I think it has to do with more financial reasons. I think players are players. I think every team has players, and granted, Zion Ely and Malik Washington are great players, don't get me wrong. But that said, the money to buy out a coach is a lot of money, and for a program where we constantly talk about lack of funds, that's a big deal. And also, you got to mention, obviously when that letter came out, there was a lot of jobs already available, like Florida, LSU, Penn State, a bunch of jobs. Obviously, they've been filled now, but Maryland probably at the bottom of that list in terms of those available jobs, so I think that had to do with it as well.
And then we all watched Indiana beat Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship on Saturday. How does Maryland put themselves in the position to compete with the teams atop the Big Ten, and is there a chance they can turn their program around exactly like the Hoosiers did?
Simply said, no. Kurt Signetti is a genius. He might be the godfather, for goodness sake, but that said, Maryland football, it has the standard where it's just not up to that level of competing with the top of the Big Ten, the Michigans, the Ohio States, even Indiana now, the USCs, and of course the Oregons. So Maryland football, just like in terms of where they're located, just the history of the program, and they don't have the reputation, no matter who the head coach is. Let's say Mike Loxley's the head coach. He could be the head coach. He could have brought them to maybe a bowl game, but I don't think they have the ability to go further. And that said, if they had someone else as the head coach, I still don't think that was going to happen, because I just don't know if anyone could fix Maryland to the point where Signetti fixed Indiana.
And then, Ben, what does the ideal offseason look like for Maryland to put them, in the best case, to have the most success as a program next season?
Well, I think first of all, it's keeping those young guys, the Zierra Mathises, the Malik Washingtons, of course, the Sydney Stewarts, and the CJ Smiths, as well as other players on the defense and the offense who were freshmen this year. And Mike Locksley talked about how much this young core was like young and inexperienced, but eventually spoke to we're just young. So I think in terms of that, if you want to build off the momentum that Locksley kept saying this year is different than other years, I think keeping those players, but they need to add more, especially weapons for Malik Washington. Shalik Knox is gone. Jaleel Farouk's gone. I don't know, Caleb Webb I think might still have some eligibility, but a lot of the receivers are gone. They're going to have to get some veteran receivers. Malik didn't have those receivers, those top-level receivers that, let's say, Tulia Tagovailoa had, like a Ty Feldon. They're going to need to add something like that, especially at running back as well. DeJuan Williams and Nolan Ray had okay seasons. The run game was struggling the entire year. They had a few good games, but it just felt like the offensive line was really good, but it just felt like the run game was just a step below.
That's all the time we have today. Thank you for taking the time to join us, Ben. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And you could stay up with all of Ben's coverage on X at Ben Messinger or at WMUCsports.net.
Now stay with us, because when we come back, we'll have our own Owen Korzak on to detail the state of the program.
And then Christian and I will play a fun game of Guess Who's Statline. Don't go anywhere.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Welcome back to the Left Bench in Focus, brought to you by Terrapin Sports Central. I'm Wesley Schnell alongside Christian Andriolas. And Christian, heading into the offseason, there are still a lot of questions that are yet to be answered about the state of the team.
Yeah, that's right, Wes. And to TSC's Owen Korzak joins us now from Studio B with more. Owen?
Yeah, guys, to say that the back half of Maryland football season was a disappointment would be an understatement. But despite the failures, let's take an early look at what holes the Terps will have to fill for next year. First, let's take a look at who the Terps have to retain if they want to be competitive for next year. Obviously, Maryland needs to do everything they can to make sure that freshman quarterback Malik Washington stays in College Park. And given his relationship with Coach Locks, it's probably not too much of a concern for Maryland. However, there's a fair chance that the Terps lose one of their running backs. Nolan Ray is certainly a transfer candidate, and with 2 years left of eligibility and seeing how Roman Hemby did after leaving College Park, I find it hard for the Terps to be able to keep Ray at Maryland. On top of that, redshirt freshman DeJuan Williams basically took over all running back duties as the season went on. With 3 years left of eligibility, the Terps need to keep Williams for the sake of continuity for Washington. On the other side of the ball, looks like the Terps should be able to keep both of their freshman star pass rushers, Sydney Stewart and Zahir Mathis, who are both in the top 11 of the Big Ten in terms of sacks, plus all of the other young talent in the secondary like Lakai Rowland and Nazai Dillam. Terps defense should look pretty similar to this past season. Now, the Terps have a few holes they desperately need to fill on offense. Desperately need to fill, especially on offense. The Terps' top 3 receiving yard leaders will all be gone next season. Octavian Smith, Shalik Knox, and Jaleel Farouk, they'll all be graduating. That's why it is important for the Terps to keep both the aforementioned Williams and tight end Dorian Fleming, as those two already have established connections with Malik Washington. Now, luckily for the Terps, Loxley has a very good track record of developing wide receivers. Before he was at Maryland, he was with Alabama in 2018, where they sent 4 receivers to the NFL. And his track record, along with the ability to play with the top young quarterback in the country, should serve the Terps well in the transfer portal when it comes to finding pass catchers. Finally, let's take a look at the holes the Terps will have to fill due to players declaring for the NFL draft. Now, the Terps have a few graduating seniors that will likely declare. Jalen Husky has a high chance of being drafted, especially after players like Tareeb Still, Dante Trader, Deontay Banks, Bo Braid, and Jacorian Bennett have all made impacts in the league. Jaleel Farouk, who we talked about earlier, might see some attention due to his success in the SEC at Oklahoma before he came to Maryland, but he's going to have a good pro day to really turn heads. There's a chance Cam Rice might also get picked up. He had a sneaky good year with the Terps, probably their most consistent interior defensive lineman. And with the success Jordan Phillips has had in Miami during his rookie year, there's a chance a team takes a swing at Rice. And the big one, there's a very realistic chance that Daniel Wingate declares for the draft. Wingate is coming off one of the best statistical seasons an off-ball linebacker has had at Maryland since 2018. Mel Kiper rated him as the 8th best linebacker. That is draft eligible, and that would obviously be a huge loss for the Terps. So Maryland's future may not be as bleak as some fans think. With lots of youth, not a lot of key pieces leaving, and a very, very good 2026 recruiting class, we can all but hope Maryland can put it together next season. Back to you fellas in the studio.
Yeah, thank you for that, Owen. And Christian, with the state of college football now, it's just so key that Maryland has incoming players that can make an impact right away next season.
Yeah, and Owen mentioned it. A lot of the receivers graduating, and they have an impact player right now with Malik Washington, but now they need to develop the team around that. More specifically on offense, because Malik is going to need some weapons and some people to give the ball to and take the load off of like what he did this year, carrying the offense. Yeah,
it'll definitely be an off season to keep an eye on. But now let's play a quick game of Guess the Stat Line. Our producers have given us 3 stat lines, and we have to guess who they are. Let's get right into it.
Let's see.
All right, so first up, we have 303 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, and about 25.3 rushing yards per game.
So I would say this 303 rushing yards. So this, I don't think it's DeJuan Williams, because I feel like DeJuan Williams has more because he became the lead back.
I feel like a little sleeper pick for this could be Malik Washington.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
As the season progressed on, we saw how crucial or how his running game impacted the team. Ran for that long touchdown against Rutgers, boosted up the yards, ran into the end zone. But I think
felt like half the season's rushing yards came in that Rutgers game.
That was a great game. But I think Malik Washington I think we can go with Malik here.
Yeah, because I don't think Nolan Ray ran for 4 touchdowns.
Or I don't think, especially with the starting running back like Nolan Ray or DeJuan Williams, I feel like they have more rushing yards in the season than 303. So I think we can go ahead and lock in Malik Washington.
Yeah, let's go. Let's
go. All right, so our guess will be Malik Washington.
There we
go. There we
go.
1 for 1. Great start. Malik Washington. Great pick. Let's get into the next stat line.
Interested to see. Oh, defense. We talked about this before.
Defense was going to
might
be
a little hard.
So
33 total tackles, 1.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. So I feel like this might be a defensive back who maybe got sent on a blitz and got a sack and a half or a QB hit, or maybe a linebacker. I don't think, or maybe an interior defensive lineman.
I agree. I don't know about defensive lineman here, because I feel like 33 total tackles for a D lineman is quite low.
Interior D lineman, though, I feel like actually, no. I feel like it's more edge rushers don't get as many tackles as you'd think, so it could be an edge rusher.
So I don't think it's a linebacker either, because I feel like linebackers would definitely have higher stat totals for each quarterback hits and sacks. So we could go ahead and pick either a defensive back or a defensive end. Would anyone come to mind?
I feel like we should go with an edge rusher, because it's not Mathis or Stewart.
Okay.
Because I think they led the team in sacks. So with, I think, 6 and 7 and 13 total, but 1.5 sacks. Do you have 3 quarterback hits? Do you maybe a linebacker? I feel like it might be a linebacker.
I kind of want to go Sidney Stewart here. Actually.
No, Sidney Stewart had more than 1.5 sacks for sure.
You think?
Yeah, definitely. That's why I don't think it's him.
Who are you going to pick? I think I might go with Sidney Stewart here. What about you?
I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with Messiah Delhomme.
All right. Let's see it. We're split on guesses here. Let's see who takes it home.
Cam Rice.
Cam Rice. Wow. Didn't really come to mind. I didn't think a D lineman was going to have such low tackle totals and quarterback hits.
Cam Rice had more sacks than that, to be honest, but, can't get them all right.
All right, second one wrong. We got to see if we can take home the third one right here. Let's see what it is.
44 receptions, 717 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
Okay.
So this is the leading receiver, but is it who you would think is the leading receiver?
Is it the leading receiver? Did no other receiver pick up more yards?
I don't think anybody had more yards than 717, to be honest.
And 6 touchdowns, I feel like, is a high touchdown total.
Yeah.
You could go like an Octavian Smith or like Shalik Knotts, who got in the end zone a couple times this season. But I feel like it's like 50-50 with either of those receivers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning towards Shalik Knotts because I felt in the last game of the season especially, he performed really well, and he caught a touchdown. Was it 2 in the last game of the season?
I think it was 2.
Yeah, 2. So I feel like that definitely helps add to the total and would get it closer to 6 than someone like Octavian Smith, who it kind of felt like wasn't being used as much as he was, like perceived to have been used. And so I feel like Shalik is the right answer here.
All right, so I'm going to go and not agree with you.
You're
I'm
not
going to go
agreeing.
ahead and take Octavian Smith,
All right.
star receiver for the team. Let's see. It's 50-50 shot. Let's see who
Let's
is
see
right.
who it is. Shalik Knotts. I got it.
Christian
Let's
gets
go.
Christian
2 for 3.
wins 2 for 3. I go 1 for 3. It's a fun game, and definitely looking forward to playing that in the future.
Yeah, for sure, Wes. And now it's time to present our end-of-season awards on offense. This award could only go to one player, quarterback Malik Washington. The true freshman carried Maryland's attack all season long, accounting for nearly 78% of the team's total yards. Washington threw for 2,963 yards and 17 touchdowns while adding 303 yards and 4 scores on the ground. For that, Washington earned our Offensive MVP award.
Now flipping over to the defensive side, our defensive MVP for this season has to be defensive back Jalen Husky. Husky led the team with 4 interceptions and is second on the team with 58 solo tackles. Husky also recorded a season high of 9 tackles in the road win against Wisconsin. He was a key component of the secondary and defense of the whole season. So congrats to Jalen Husky on being named our defensive MVP this season.
And next is our Rookie of the Year, which easily could have also gone to Malik Washington. But instead, we wanted to highlight a different standout freshman, that being defensive lineman Sidney Stewart. The cousin of former Maryland favorite Derek Queen led the Terps with 7 sacks and 10.5 tackles for loss. He also forced a forced fumble strip sack in the 4th quarter against UCLA. Along with fellow freshman Zahir Mathis, Stewart was wreaking havoc all season long on the edge. Congrats to Sidney Stewart to being named our Rookie of the Year. All right, lots of highs and lows this season. Let's get to our top 5 plays of the season. Wes, get us started.
Why not? Let's take a look. Number 5, we have a Shalik Knotts toe tap touchdown against Michigan State in Detroit, kind of looking like Amon-Ra St. Brown up in Ford Field, getting the feet down for the touchdown. What a grab by Shalik Knotts.
Yeah, one of those 2 touchdowns we mentioned that Shalik Knotts caught against Michigan State. And now number 4, we have Dante Joyner with a pick 6 off Patrick Mahomes' wannabe, Dylan Raiola, looking like Patrick Mahomes did last night against that vaunted Houston Texans defense.
You got to love the 67-yard pick 6 there. Number 3, Malik Washington, first or second play from scrimmage, takes it all the way to the house with his touchdown run in the first quarter of Rutgers. Split the defense, nothing but green in front of him, no one near for the touchdown.
And at number 2, we have Octavian Smith Jr., one of the highlights of the season in this game, especially, with a diving catch against Wisconsin when Maryland went en route to win that game.
And then number 1 has to be this 100-yard pick 6, Lakai Rowland, picks off the defense, runs all the way to the other side of the field, takes it to the house. He will not be stopped. Off to the races, scoring the 100-yard pick 6 for our top play of the year.
Always dangerous to throw across the body like that. Never a good idea.
Never.
And that's about does it for this week. Be sure to keep up with all of TSC's coverage on Instagram, X, YouTube, and online at TerrapinSportsCentral.com. Thanks for watching. Eddie Calkins and Drew Owens will be behind the desk Monday for our last show of the semester.
See you then, and we hope you have a great week.